Hi, I'm King Ron, and you're listening to the Happy Earth Market podcast.
All right.
Yeah, that was perfect.
That's fine.
You can do that. That's
Well, let's just rock, man. I'm Nathan,
I'm Sam.
I'm JR.
and this is Happy Earth Market podcast. And on this podcast, we have
King Ron from Food Not Bombs.
Food
Las
Not
Vegas.
Bombs, and we have our guest. Do you just speak real loud?
I'm Isaac from Kasi.
Isaac
Isaac.
Rossi.
Nice.
So, and K, it's a, and they're
CAA.
gonna have to edit that. Sorry,
Yeah.
CAASI.
Right.
Right, 2 A's. S-I.
And this podcast
Cool
is brought to you by Love Through Living, by Happy Earth Market, and also by Natural
Natural
Awakenings,
Awakenings.
Greater Las Vegas edition. And we're so grateful for her. So let me tell you guys a story real quick. We'll get this thing moving. So we're getting ready to do a podcast with Johnny Bob, chief of the Western Shoshone tribe here in Vegas, right? Honorable man. His words are medicine. And this lady calls and says, "Hi, I'm Gabriel from a Natural Awakening." He's like, "Oh my God, hey, we love your magazine." And she's like, "Yeah, I want to sponsor your store for the year."
Nice.
I want
You get a full
I
page
know
ad.
her.
We're gonna we're gonna
That's
give you a
really
full
cool.
page ad. We're gonna give you an article and as many events and contributors that you can feed us. We'll put them in.
You're in there actually. Food Not Bombs.
Food Not Bombs is in there. We'll show you after this. We put
All
you
right.
guys in there.
Yeah.
Hey, every little bit helps, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna, promo.
Totally.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
totally did that. So, let me tilt this down. Sorry.
There you go. That probably be a
Noise.
little better.
Actually, and I know Johnny Bob pretty well.
Yeah.
He's been to a lot of our marches, and he was there when I got arrested a few times.
Awesome. I mean, that man, like, they talk about men and their words being medicine. That man's words are medicine. He chooses every syllable so carefully and ensures, and maybe it was because he knew that this broadcast was going to go out across the world, that he was very careful with his words. But he would stop talking, and we were just trying. It was such good words that we would just sit there and digest.
It was hard.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
There.
Oh.
It was hard.
I don't remember now.
We were talking about Johnny Bob.
He broke it. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny's awesome. We're doing the Peace Walk this year with him. We'll be there for a couple. We can't do the whole thing because we have the store to run, but everybody, all the 5 founders have committed to, except for Jared, I don't know if he has or not, but all of us have committed to 2 days of doing the Peace Walk.
Nice.
Yeah, so, and if you're unaware of what the Peace Walk is, it's a 60-mile long walk from here to Creech, Nevada that symbolizes the old warriors' journey that the warriors from the Shoshone would take, but they've turned it into a protest against drone warfare and against nuclear warfare, which those are 2 real hard things for people not to be against. Like,
Well, it traditionally starts at the Atomic Testing Museum.
yeah,
Yeah.
The starting
I
point.
love the starting point.
And, you think that they would be maybe anti-nuclear. Unfortunately, the museum is like very pro,
Oh, I would have never thought that.
right? Which is kind of funny. So I think it's an appropriate place to start,
Absolutely.
because you start from a place where, they're rah-rah,
Yeah.
and you go through the walk, and, you end up and you come to a place where the majority of drone strikes
Yeah.
all over the world come from Creech Air Force Base.
Right.
I mean, that's where I've been arrested many times. I've done the peace walk. No, I've not. I've never actually done the peace walk. I've always
Yeah.
been support. I've always cooked for them.
Okay, that's a
and
vital
provided,
job.
And you get to go to the goddess temple.
Right.
Yeah.
And
How
hang
is
out there.
that? I mean, it sounds, and I've seen pictures, but how is it to feel being in there?
It's a really beautiful place. The energy is really good, and the people are really wonderful. I mean, there's a real coming together of everybody
That's good.
up there.
Neat.
So if you haven't done this before, boy, you're in for a treat. Let me tell you, you'll really, really have a good time. You'll meet a lot of good people. You met Johnny Bob.
we know most of them already, so
Yeah,
that's like,
that's
Well, a lot of these
Like
people are our
kind of-
friends, and I've avoided. I have straight up avoided the Peace Walk for years because it does protest Creech Air Force Base, and I have
A lot of friends.
a conflict because I'm former military and I have a hard time with the views of people protesting military bases because you think back to Vietnam when people were spitting in soldiers' faces and stuff like that. And so that's still the view of protesters when they go up there from friends of mine. And so it becomes a very conflicted thing for me where these are really good friends of mine and I'm doing good work in the veterans community, and I would never do anything like that to disrespect them. So I have this scale
You walk a
hard balance.
balance.
you know what I'm saying?
Very hard
And
balance,
I actually went to 2 people in the last week that worked there, and I said, look, here's what I'm planning on doing, and if you feel like this disrespects you in any way, then I won't do it, because I love you and I don't want to, and I know that you're just doing your job, and I get all of that, and they're in it. You know what I'm saying? They're in it. And for somebody just to say, you know what, I quit, and they're in the military, like, that's a big deal. I would have never done it.
And it's not easy to do anyway.
No.
No, it's not easy to do.
No, and the thing too is people in the military feel that they're working for the greater good. They're told all the time, you are fighting for America's freedom. No matter what any protester tell you, no matter what any kid says to you in your face, you are fighting for their freedom to say these things.
Right.
Which at one point, are you?
Right.
Right. Well, you know that one of the groups that goes to the walk is Veterans for Peace. And these are fellow soldiers. They're fellow veterans for the most part. So you get to go up there and meet with them, and they seem to be able to find that balance.
Yeah.
To go up there, they've been through it. So when they speak, they're speaking, not just from an outsider's point of view. They're speaking from somebody who went through the military.
Right.
Totally.
The first-hand experience of it.
Yeah, and there's also there's some telephone numbers for active military to report different incidents that go on within the military.
Are there really?
Uh-huh.
I never heard this before right now.
And that's
Well,
the thing.
why would
The
you?
soldiers don't, and the military personnel don't know this. So sometimes they feel trapped in that situation, and they need to get out or want to get out. And there's actually numbers where people will help them transition out of the military in an effective way.
Well, I had no idea.
They don't like it when we go up there. We'll
tell them that?
bring up, we'll bring up signs with the phone number. If you're having difficulties or issues and want to come out, or if you want to tell a story.
Yeah. Well, here's a little known fact, or maybe it's a known fact. I don't know, but soldiers and airmen who are doing drone warfare have the highest rate of PTSD, and the reason why is because they spend all day focusing on let's say they're focusing on a house and they watch this house for days and days and days and
let's
days
just be
and days,
honest.
and then they blow it up.
Yeah, they kill a bunch of people, and then they have to
it's
go home
it's fucking
and-
war. There's no way
and see
around
their
it.
family right after they killed a bunch of
and then they get in their
Yeah.
car and they drive home after they
and see their kids and go to a soccer practice or whatever.
you know what
No.
I'm saying?
Go back to normal life like none of that was real.
I-
I gotta think they make it look like a video game.
As an,
They've got to.
it's not
CGI
really.
the shit up. I bet they. How
Well,
much you know? You don't work there.
listen.
They make it look like aliens instead of humans, right?
But as an infantry veteran, as a person who was face-to-face battle, I think I'd rather have that. I think I'd rather be face-to-face with my enemy than doing that and coming home to you.
Totally.
Well, there's a lot of mistakes that are made. With the drone attacks. I mean, there's been films out.
Tons. Yeah.
Where you see how it's done, how the decisions are made, and even when they know that the people are innocent or not, the targets,
yeah.
they go
There,
ahead anyway. The suicide rate, drug and alcohol abuse of the drone pilots is tremendous. Now, I think it was last year, they were offering up an incredible monetary bonus for guys to re-enlist and
To stay, yeah.
They couldn't do it, and what they're doing is they're farming it out now to third party. One of these, what do they call it?
Contract?
Military contractors.
So wait a minute. Drone warfare has gone. That really
Right,
upsets me.
because they can't keep. I mean, I'm a Food Not Bombs is a peace organization. So what I'm going to say is I understand that when people get into the military, they go in for a variety of reasons. I mean, I think a lot of people are suckers, especially people of color and people in poor communities who don't have
that's
the
legit.
opportunities. They really use them. and they get caught up in something that they shouldn't be in, but they have no options. So
And
they're not going.
it gets them out of the shit they're in. That's the bonus of
Right.
it, though. You know, it gets them out of the shit.
Here's a funny thing. I joined the military to save my life.
It's weird.
I went to a place where I could get shot so that I wouldn't get shot in Southern California, because in my senior year, like 5-6 friends got killed in gang violence, and I was right there in it with them, and I was like, I gotta go. If I don't go somewhere, I'm gonna die of either a drug overdose or I'm gonna get shot. So
Right, the military provided, and I mean there were promises of college and training.
They use that a lot.
And they do use that a lot.
They do use that a lot.
And my current roommate, went in and was supposed to be trained, and they trained him on these electronic equipment and stuff. When he got out, he found out the stuff was so out of date. He went to companies and they looked at him and they're like,
you can't even use that. Yeah, that's very true.
You're not. Yeah, you can't get a job. So all the promises that were made.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from when you sign up, they promise, I want to sign up and do this. Oh, no problem. Sign on the dotted line.
Yeah.
Sorry, those positions are all filled. Now you have to do something that you didn't agree
I can
with.
get super. So the Navy and the Marine Corps do not offer job placement. You get a job that you sign up for, but you go to what they decide.
They tell you to go to.
The Air Force and the Army, when you sign up, you go to that job. Yeah, so you sign up for the infantry, you're going to the infantry. You sign up to be a drone pilot, you're going to that. So let's say, argument's sake, you fail that school. You go to be a logistics guy or a linguist, the really hard linguist, like you were doing Korean or something like that, and you failed out. Then you don't get kicked out. You go to the needs of the Army, which is clearly going to be the infantry.
Right. Well, I don't know. I'm speaking from personal experience with friends of mine that, that signed up and they promised them a certain
amount. So they were probably Navy or Marine Corps.
And then they kind of backed out on it and said, "Oh, I'm sorry. You needed someone here. You needed here more."
Yeah.
Wow.
It happens.
Yeah, it's a tough call.
It's one of those situations, though. I mean, it's one that exists. We know that for a fact. And it does help people who are lower income completely come out of that cycle, that circulatory system that they've been in and their dad and mom have been in and their grandparents have been in. It gets them out of that, and it prevents homelessness. It really does. It does all these things. But then on the other hand, they go to war and they do all that shit and then they come home and then they...
We all have moral choices that we make.
It's nuts, man. What's the right?
My problem is not war. My problem is war for a reason. Like you can't keep sending.
Plastic is not the reason anymore.
Sending kids to war for no reason. You have to stop it.
Well, there is a reason. I mean, we don't like the reasons. I mean, we go to war for corporations. We go for resources.
Yeah.
It's not to protect the United States. It's to protect the United States and living at the standard where we live.
Right.
I mean,
but we keep sending our garbage to them. I mean, that's the society we live in. We live in the most consuming, grotesque society, and we go to war for plastic, petroleum oil, which is and everything is made out of plastic. Even inside the cans that you're drinking out of has plastic in it, and it's
plastic.
Well, not these ones, but
thank you.
But I mean, it's just plastic everywhere, and people aren't.
Not these ones. No, these are completely ethical.
Yeah.
That's
one.
That's
No,
line of
for sure.
plastic, bro.
Yeah, so you can't even, you can't even recycle cans anymore because it has
Here, you want me to-
unrecyclable plastic on it.
You want me to blow your mind real quick? So Monster. Right, Monster. This is Monster Tour
Look at his
water.
face.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, so we went
You
to...
have lots of time.
We went
have.
to
Their
my
finger
friend's
covers
house.
it.
My friend was filming a documentary here in town. We went over for dinner one night. They weren't filming a documentary, and all this Monster was all over. And we started like, "What the hell is this Monster water?" Well, this is what all the athletes drink. This is all the
It's called tour water.
concert people drink. This is what all of them drink. They're not. You think that a UFC fighter just got out of a fight and had a big sip of Monster? He would throw up just like you would throw up. You know what I mean? No, it's Monster water.
They put their
water.
finger over the tour water, so you
So
can't
they've
see
been
it.
playing this whole time.
This whole time.
Yeah.
Even Monster.
Oh man.
Hey,
keep buying that shit though, brother. Keep buying it.
There's been deaths attributed to overdosing on Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it gives you Alzheimer's.
Especially high school
early
kids.
onset.
Yeah, especially high school kids who pound like 10 of those in a day.
Oh.
Then they go
Those
for
are the gamers.
or those kids that they drink like 2 or 3 of those before they go to football practice. Yeah, their heart boom, their heart
just Google some of those ingredients.
Well, and you have to remember they're using this as a mixer at bars.
I dare you.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Educate what
like,
you're
I don't
putting in
drink
your body,
Monster,
man.
but I don't know if it's like Monster and vodka or
Usually Red Bull vodka,
or Red Bull. It's the same.
Nuts, dude.
The same.
Very amazed by that tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, let me
blows
blow your
people's
mind. Let me blow your mind real quick. That's why we haven't opened it.
Wow.
Yep.
He had them all over the house because every shot that they took in this documentary, right, had to have Monster in the shot. So they had them all over. But they were
they
like,
sponsors or?
Yeah. Monster was a sponsor for this documentary.
That's why they were.
Yeah, right. And so everywhere, even when we went outside to smoke a cigarette,
Yeah.
there was like a Monster. Built like whatever you call it, like a banner, right? It was everywhere. Monster had paid for everything for this veterans documentary, and then so when we look close, she's like, "What the fuck is this?"
I was so mad. I was so fucking mad. He had a whole cooler of the shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you serious?
And actually, it's really good water. It tastes great.
He's like, yeah, this is what when we take our pictures drinking it, we have to put our finger over the water part. I'm like, you're kidding me. Holy fuck. And you guys are just veterans. You're not even famous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nuts. So anyway, yeah.
What's funny was we did, so that documentary's been going on for 3 years now, and I won't get into the name of the documentary. It's going on for 3 years now. This is the 3rd year, right? First 2 years had all this community support, and the whole biker community came out and helped and all this stuff. So Monster comes out as a sponsor. They don't want our help no more. They don't want the regular biker help no more. They didn't even set up a ride for them or nothing. They just blazed through town. Like, what?
Wow.
Got to go where the money is.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's just frustrating, and I got to think that Monster
Wow.
was like, hey, make sure that those guys don't show up.
That's how corporations are.
Yeah, bummer.
Pretty much.
So basically, we're just like fuck corporations, like,
Yeah, that's
like
what it
in
sounds like.
general.
Well, that's true. I mean, they do it to us. We're gonna go right back at them.
We're just rebuilding our own brands. That's all we're doing now.
Yeah, that's what this place is all about.
Yep.
Say hi to the people, everybody. If there's anybody on there.
Oh gosh, we're on live.
Been live.
Hi.
Don't be scared.
No, I was cussing.
Fuck.
Fuck your ass.
Dang it.
Wow.
I don't like to cuss on the Facebook Live page because kids watch that. Okay. Anyways,
Where were we?
I don't know. It seems like a good cut line though. Easy to find.
So.
You want me to ask the next question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
You were looking at me
sorry.
like, go ahead.
Well, no, Ron. So we had you on One Human Stand. How'd you feel about that?
I really enjoyed it. It gave me a chance to come out and speak about something I'm really passionate about, and maybe give some information to people who weren't aware of it. So.
Did you get any good questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got quite a few good questions. You know, when the show's going on and everything, you know, you get caught up in what you're doing, and my memory of the things, so I have to go back and watch it again to remember everything. I mean, I don't know if I'm alone in that.
Well, I am too, because I'm working the whole time on sound and.
Yeah. So you get distracted and you get focused on what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of good feedback. I mean, I was happy with it. People were happy with it.
We were so honored to have you.
Did you get any new supporters, you think? Anybody's going to help?
Well, we always get new supporters all the time. It's just amazing. You know, people are compassionate. They really are. And sometimes they just don't know how to express it. And then when they come out and they say, hey, look, you know, things like food, not bombs, I'll use myself as an example. Like, geez, that's pretty easy. I you know, no huge commitment. I can come out there and I can make a difference.
Yeah.
And people like making a difference. It makes them feel important. It helps everybody. It helps
fulfilling.
the earth.
Yeah.
It really is.
So for the listeners who are going to listen to this, can you tell us a little bit about Food Not Bombs and explain it a little bit for people? This is a new podcast and.
Okay, I could do it. Let's see. I actually had notes on it.
Awesome.
Let's refer.
He comes
All right.
prepared.
I do. Let's see. Food Not Bombs is traditionally, it started off as a peace organization, first and foremost. It was started in Cambridge, Mass. in the 1980s. Was started by anti-nuclear activists.
Okay. Anti-nuclear activists?
Yep.
Okay.
And then it's an international organization now. We're in the Americas, Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia, and Australia.
Nice.
There we go. So every group is independent. We're all volunteers. The meals that we serve, we call ours picnics because we share with the community.
At the park.
Yep.
It's just like a picnic.
It is a park, and it is a picnic.
Yep.
Are traditionally vegan, vegetarian.
Nice.
We do a lot of food rescue. One of the driving forces behind Food Not Bombs is that there's such a huge amount of food that is thrown away that's good food that we go and we get it and we're able to serve it. We rescue the food so it's not going to a landfill. I do food rescue, at least once a week, sometimes more depending on need. Sometimes once a week is more than enough because I'll get hundreds and hundreds of pounds.
What does food rescue mean?
It's also been referred to, I believe, by people who are not in the know.
Dumpster diving is what it's known as.
Yeah, that's kind
what
of
it's called.
It is called
dumpster
that.
diving.
I've heard that term before, and it's when you say it that way, people think of these scummy dumpsters, like full of
right. You're outside of a restaurant taking half sandwiches.
Yeah, and there's rats and bugs crawling on it and stuff. And in fact, I kind of thought the same thing. The first time I did it, I'm like, what am I getting into? What are we going to see here? And then you get behind the supermarkets, and then you realize that the food that we're getting, the vegetables, we don't take meat or cheese or dairy.
Stuff spoils quickly in the heat. Yep.
Heat kills.
Can't do it.
Yeah,
not
and
safe.
it's not part of our mission.
That too.
But the stuff that we get was just on the shelf a few minutes ago. They take it from the shelf and put it in the dumpster. The deliveries come in, so we actually pull out cases of fruit and vegetables with the ice still packed on it from the delivery that they had 3 or 4 days before because they got a new delivery in, no space, and they got to do a turnover. So I pull out full cases. I don't know why, but I pulled out cases of soda, cases of beer. And then everything else, you can imagine that's in the supermarket.
Sure.
Laundry detergent.
Soap.
Shampoos, cosmetics.
Trash bags and cleaning supplies, all of that.
Anything you can find in the supermarket.
Yeah.
Still sealed. And perfectly usable.
They just got a new shipment.
And they get a new shipment.
No more room on the shelf.
Right. And then they just transition it out. And one of the funny things that I found is the neighborhoods. In the poor neighborhoods that we go into when we do this, we notice that the expiration dates are closer to the dates that we find when we rescue the food.
Oh, wow.
Now you go to the more affluent areas, the expiration date 2 weeks out.
Oh, wait. So legitimately they changed the expiration for neighborhoods?
Well, when they dispose of it.
Yeah.
Summerlin.
Yeah.
I notice when I go up in Summerlin, the people don't want to buy their food 4 days or 5 days, before expiration. And this is fruit and vegetables. I don't understand how there's an expiration date on this stuff, but there actually is. They put the stuff out.
Yeah.
And the stuff that they get is a lot of times better than the food that I actually see being sold at some of the supermarket chains in my neighborhood, which isn't as affluent. So it's really funny. And we're talking about organic food.
Right.
And anything you can imagine. Stuff that I can't afford.
Unbelievable.
Stuff that's kind of out of season, but they bring it in as a specialty item.
It's incredible. We know people that's what they literally go shopping in the dumpster. They go grocery shopping.
No, they live on it, no problem.
The dumpster, and I'm like, wow. You don't buy groceries.
No, we never do. We're talking about
cool. Weird.
They have pre-packed salads. Those like expensive pre-packed salads.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't tell that when it's bad, I mean, you have a problem. This stuff is like fresh and crisp. A lot of times it's still cold.
Oh, wow. So you just got there, like, unbelievable.
I mean, we kind of learn the system, and when they switch out
The
food,
times and stuff,
yeah. And we go there, and the amounts are just incredible. So,
that's very interesting.
yeah,
Sad.
and that's what we do.
Messed
I
up,
mean,
yeah.
but we rescue. We turn around, we serve it to the community. We all eat what we cook.
The people who are starving, you feed it to them.
Absolutely, and that includes us. I mean, there's not a meal
And it's not
that we
costing the
serve.
taxpayers anything.
Nope.
Right?
And the other thing is
like
that
it's
a
a
lot
win.
of times like you pay for weight or for dumpster emptying. So when we take stuff out of there, that gives them, these supermarket chains, a chance to reload and not have to pay extra money.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I don't understand how they, in good conscience and with any sort of moral bearing, can throw
There's gotta
away
be a
the
law
amount
about
of
it,
food.
right? Is there a law? Why aren't the stores just giving this food to us? Why?
I actually worked for Walmart, and the situation is we're covered by there's a law that says, if you get something and rescue it and you serve it and it's in the form of charity and something goes wrong, you're not responsible. The business is not responsible.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a law already. So they always use that. No, if we gave it to them and somebody gets sick, we'll be on the hook. Absolutely not true. What it comes down to is it's cheaper for me to tell that employee, go throw that in the dumpster, than to take the extra few minutes to pack it up. They don't want to pay the wages of having that person pack up the stuff and put it to the side. It's all about nickels and dimes to these corporations.
But why aren't they okay with us going in there and saying, hey, what's your throwaways today? We'll take it. Why can't we pick it up? Why do we have to wait for them to throw it away?
That's a great question.
Does anybody
I have
talk to
no.
the managers of the stores? I mean, who's in charge of this?
Well, they're probably just taking
everybody-
orders from above, yeah.
Right, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, we're just doing what we're told.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, how many times have you heard that, right?
Right.
Millions.
I mean,
right.
if the Nuremberg trials happened, or something,
Right.
it's like just following orders is never an excuse.
Apparently, there's a bag law where you have to have alcohol put inside of a plastic
that's
bag at gas stations. But
That's
only
not true.
That's not true.
It's not true. So
But
all this
they'll
whole
tell
time,
you that when you say no bag.
yeah, hey, I don't want to bag. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. It's the law. It's 100% not the law that you have to have your liquor in a bag.
Well, it depends. I mean, it's good if you're going to be drinking on the street, because out of sight, out of the mind.
That's a different argument.
So, getting a bag is
Then it comes in a paper bag, though, right?
Yeah.
I'm a brown bagger, bro. For years.
So that's what I'm saying. Some places won't even offer. I'm surprised that I heard this is the first time I've heard this, because most of the community that I deal with that do happen to drink in public, they never give them bags. And I'm like, you'd be saving up people like a lot of heartache for somebody wanting to have a beer on a hot day and not be hassled by just giving them a paper bag. My family's been in the grocery business for, 80 years now. And we're a neighborhood grocery. And I mean, from when I was a kid, that was one of the things we always provided. They make bags specifically for that paper
Yeah,
bag.
for the tall can, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, when I came out here, I was like shocked that it's not like a regular thing.
Same
It used to
here.
be a West Coast thing. It used to be you were walking around with a brown bag, like cops left you alone.
Yeah.
There's nobody. If you're of age, cops kind of understood what was going on. They left you alone. And I don't know when that changed, but it definitely changed.
Well, the thing is, I mean, if they can't identify it, they have to have reasonable suspicion. And somebody
Right.
walking with something in a paper bag, you can't. So it's not worth that extra hassle.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a weird topic, that's for sure.
Podcasting. So like,
Back to food, not bombs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I really like the way when you did your One Human Stand that you kind of dispelled the myths about the homeless and the reason that they're homeless and things like that. Can you go into some of that?
Well, the statistics bear this out that, I mean, the crime rates, assaults, go relatively even to the homeless population and the population at large. The numbers are very, very similar in percentages. So it's not that the homeless are any more
Affluent to crime, yeah.
Yeah, inclined to commit crimes. I mean, they're people just like the rest of the population, and it bears out percentage-wise. being homeless is a pretty rough thing. So you're going to see a lot of drug abuse or alcohol abuse.
Yeah.
I'm out there currently 3 days a week serving, and then the rest of the time, I scavenge, and we get donations, of course.
Yeah.
Sure.
You
drive far to pick them up too. I know that.
Yeah.
I remember.
I put tons and tons of mileage on my car. But I mean, people are always willing to donate. I mean, we have Chef Mindy, who's a local chef here that does, meals. She consistently donates produce to us. We have supermarket chain.
Can you say what restaurant she's at, or?
It's Chef Mindy's Meals by Chef Mindy.
Nice.
Or Meals by Mindy.
Yeah.
And we also have, which is really, really cool, which, is kind of new, not so much now, but I've never saw it before. We actually have a local restaurant, Vegination, and Chef Donald actually prepares a meal for us once a week.
Wow.
And, I mean, he provides the plates and the cups. I mean, there's a lot.
That's
and Vegination, I mean, I give a great big thumbs up to.
Yeah.
They do a good job.
Very cool.
And, I mean, he cares about his community.
Yeah.
He's a local restaurant. He lives here and takes care of his community.
That's great.
So it's not like some big corporation. I mean, when you live in a community, you give back to your community.
Take care of your community.
Absolutely.
And
That's right.
He does it
That's
in so many wonderful ways.
What blew my mind the most on that talk was what you said the number one reason for homelessness was lack of affordable housing.
That's true.
Yeah, and that's I was like, wait, what? Like that? I don't know why that I'd never put those dots together, but it blew my mind.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really crazy. I mean, aside from the gentrification of neighborhoods, which drives up the rent and drives out the lower class and middle class, and if there's nowhere to go, there's just not enough housing. So what do? As well as like the job market. I mean, I have friends who are working for major corporations who are not getting 40 hours a week. I have one friend where he was doing 6 shifts a week, and the thing was 4-hour shifts. And then they just decide to make, the shifts are now 3-hour shifts.
What?
And they send you home early. And this is a major
So
corporation.
you're working like an hour and a half.
And, right, and, it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's like a mile and a half from the nearest bus stop. So if you travel by bus, you could be on the bus.
Taking you 5 hours to get there.
And working less. And they just posted, I think it was a $6-point-something billion profit last year. And this is what they're doing to their guys on the ground.
Of course. I mean, because that's how you do it. That's how you make money.
It's amazing the abuse that we allow, especially after the labor revolution, that we allow to happen for people. Well, you should have got an education. You should have. What are you talking about? Like, let's just talk about basic human decency and not treating people like shit. Just hard. You know what I mean? And what it comes down to is it's cheaper to have 20 part-time employees than 10 full-time employees, because once it hits full-time, then they have all these benefits that they have to qualify for and all this silliness.
All that. You got to start taking care of them like you care.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
About their worth for your product and your brand.
Yeah.
When did the ethics go away in corporations?
They've never had it. I mean, if you look at the robber
so
barons.
They ever have?
No.
I don't know,
there was never any
They were
ethics in
coal miners.
Yeah,
I might come from a family of coal miners.
It's got to be when they get to a certain size.
There's
That's
probably
when they
less
become
ethics
unethical.
now. I mean, less ethics back then. I mean, think about when they were child labor in America.
No, they would get away with it today if they could. I mean, thank goodness for that some of the laws were instituted to protect children because they had no problem.
Right.
People hate unions, but if it wasn't for the union revolution and the labor revolution, we would still have child labor. We'd have kids working in sawmills right now, and that's the way it would be. So there's been progress on that.
Well, it's being repealed. I mean, it's getting thrown back. I don't know.
Put kids back in the workplace.
Well,
Fuck those little bastards.
Well, it's just workplace safety.
I'm down for it too, man. We can use some help around here. I know that.
Exactly.
It would at least show these millennials some discipline.
Right.
Well, I mean, they got little hands. They can get in onto the little.
That's right.
Yeah, they can make little. Yeah, totally.
Get under furniture and stuff. They're really handy.
Right. I mean, they could probably 3 of them could clean a hotel room faster than.
Just
give them a pound of candy.
Right. And they eat less,
They do eat. Well, not all of them. That's not true.
You've seen my son.
Yeah, mine too.
They go to the mini employee dining room. Feed them in Happy Meals.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I'm from New York. My family's from Pennsylvania. So we were coal miners. My family were coal miners. one of the major issues was black lung. And, they instituted protections to help the miners. I mean, there were settlements and stuff, but they wanted to reduce the amount of black lung. And I read today, once again, black lung is on the rise because the current administration now is removing the safeties in these industries. So now, we're having people who had a disease that was like in the 60s or showing up in the 60s, so it's in the 50s and 40s.
Yeah.
It's because they're too old to speak about it now, and those who are now at their age are...
Well, the coal mining,
I don't understand.
They've destroyed the coal mining culture, like in general. Not only did they decimate it with black lung, well, then they introduced OxyContin and destroyed the whole community. And then when the OxyContin got too expensive, or the law started cracking down on the doctors, well, then guess who comes? Here comes heroin. Right. They've destroyed whole communities with just that systematic thing. So it has really turned into something very weird.
For sure. And these are the people that we serve. We're not bombed. These are the guys that get caught up in bad situations.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the current situation now, for most of the working class, we're a paycheck or two away from being homeless.
Absolutely.
We're one accident away, one sickness away. Your kid gets sick. No insurance. And you have to go and get a medical test, or if you need some sort of medicine, forget it, you can't do it. Which, I mean, Food Not Bombs helps now in that respect, is because we feed across the board. We never ask information. You don't have to be homeless to come in and share our picnic.
And enjoy the picnic.
Yeah, you come in, and if you're hungry, you come and eat. And it makes a difference with people on limited income. Now, you're going to be getting a few meals a week, so you save that money so you don't have to spend it. And that could mean the difference between paying your rent or an electric bill or for medicine. So we kind of keep those people afloat while we do what we do. The people who are houseless, we provide very nutritious meals, so we keep them healthier. And, when there's life, there's hope, right? So I've seen so many success stories, and they come back and thank us. But by getting them through one more day, by providing the nourishment that they need, gives them a chance to come and turn their lives around when they want to. And everybody's at a different point.
Totally, we're all on our own path.
So I've had people come and I don't even recognize them because when I met them, they were at their lowest point. Living on the street, man, wrecks your body. Wrecks your mind. And then when they start getting better, they'll disappear for a while. And it's always a transient population. People come and go. And when they come back and, they're have haircuts and they got clean clothes on and they're walking tall. I mean, they really walk tall. They walk different. They'll come up and they'll introduce themselves. And sometimes they have to remind me of who they were. Like, hey, do you remember me? And I'm shocked. I'm shocked at the transformation. And that's because the community stood up. Groups like Food Not Bombs, we're not the only ones. There's people that come out there all the time and give the people enough to sustain for one more day. One more day can make a difference between life and death. So what we do is really, really cool.
It's really important.
It's amazing.
It's not just really cool. It's really, really important. I mean, just to give people who are in the downest of times. I think I'm depressed.
And I
can't imagine the depression amongst people without homes because holy moly.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they still suffer from the same, angst and depression that we have.
Sure.
Totally. They're still people.
But even
now
more
they're free.
So. Yeah, even more so.
Now they don't have a ready food supply. They don't have access to bathrooms. They don't have access to showers.
Hard to find things to be grateful for when you're in that situation.
Yeah.
Completely.
And to see any hope at all. You know what I noticed?
Especially when people treat you like crap when you're asking for help and they just, go get a job, you asshole, or whatever,
And you just want to be seen. You just want to be a human being. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what I noticed when we first started working with the homeless and doing what we were doing with socks and blankets for the homeless was like, these people just wanted somebody to talk to them for just a couple seconds because, that's something I read is a large majority of, you see homeless people walking around or people without homes walking around talking to themselves. Well, a lot of them were already mentally ill or they weren't mentally, it doesn't matter, but they end up spending large amounts of time on the street by themselves, scared, sleeping outside, always being robbed, all these things. And so they just end up getting into a place where they just are talking to themselves and they look crazy, but they're not crazy. They just aren't listened to. So they're talking to themselves.
Because they listen to themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I read an article recently and they were asking what's the most important thing for people to do when they see somebody who's, and just acknowledge.
Wave,
because we have,
smile.
Yeah, we have a tendency, man, to cast our eyes away, to turn our heads. We see them on the sides of the road sometimes holding signs. And, people just turn their heads. They pretend that they don't exist.
Because they feel guilty, I think, because they don't have money on them.
Money on them, or there's just a self-reflection.
Or contact. It's scary.
And it's not,
this guy's going to ask me for something, so I'll just look away, walk faster, look at my phone.
Roll your windows up.
Yep. And
lock my door.
There's nothing wrong. I mean, I do it all the time. I mean, I do so much, but all our resources are limited. So I'll roll up and the guy will come up to my window and I say, man, I'm sorry. I don't have nothing for you today, man. But, it's good to see you, man. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Acknowledge their existence.
Yep.
And they smile. It makes them feel good. It brings back their humanity. That's something
and ask them.
Do.
We were handing out packages of socks and packages of blankets to homeless, and just take a second to talk to them. How'd you get here, dude? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what? I'm not I got my family over there. They're in the weekly. I hustle out here all day on the street corner, and then I spend the rest of the day looking for a job, and I just got to get $35 a day to keep my family in the weekly. And I have talked to more than one gentleman who has told me that story.
Yeah. And, a lot of people have a total misconception of who the homeless are.
Absolutely.
You get out there, you listen to the stories. I've met college professors. I've met engineers. I've met, artists.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Entertainers.
It's fun to ask. It's really fun to ask them. I think I get true satisfaction out of just real quick, even if it's briefly at the stoplight, because you only have a minute, right? But man, some of them,
green light.
If you go, hey, why are you out here? What's up? What happened? Why are you without a home? And some of them can blurt out their entire life story in a sentence, and you're just like, whew. And then you just reach over and say, God bless you, and
the touch, do you see
let the sun bright you, and
that touch right there, that is one of the most powerful things you could do to somebody on the streets.
Absolutely. They
give them a hug,
they don't even
touch them, because they're almost like lepers. They're almost like
modern day lepers.
Modern day lepers. Unclean. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's not. That's a person who just doesn't happen to have a shower.
Who has dirt on him. And probably some sticky stuff. Whatever.
After
soda or whatever, grease.
One year, us just handing out meals, and I went and I hugged this lady who was just on the side of the corner, and I didn't even get my arms all the way around her, and that was it. She collapsed. She was just bawling. And think about how important human touch is. If a baby doesn't get human touch in its first cycle of life, the baby dies. So imagine being an adult and never getting a compassionate, it's okay.
Just a pat on the shoulder.
You're a human being, and you need it.
We do. I mean, we have people that come by who don't even share meals with us. They just come by for a hug.
That's great.
And that's, and I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of negative stereotypes that go along with the homeless, especially with the violence and things like that. Yeah. And the people have to understand that that's not true, and that keeps them from wanting to shake hands or give a fist pump or a hug.
Dude, it sounds, I'm listening to Ron. Doesn't it sound just like what we've learned this past month with Black History? I swear to God, everything you're saying is like the propaganda to just this black man is this bad person. It's the same thing with this homeless people or this bad person.
Well, it serves
and it's just to keep us at that stupid blind level where we're just like, okay, you're right. These people are all lower than us, and that's the wrong thinking, because all of us are equal, literally equal human beings on this planet.
Yeah, whether you're sleeping in the street
Who
or
gives a
just
shit
living
how
in
much
the
money you
biggest
have?
mansion. Yeah, money
That
doesn't
matters
matter.
none.
Zero.
Well, now it matters. It matters to too many people. I don't quite understand
A lot of people.
when that change happened. I mean, growing up, well, I said my family owned a grocery store, and we knew when the factory was laying off because, you know, we knew who had a baby, we knew who was sick, so they're not able to work. And we always...
Hooked them up?
We hooked them up. You know, we would let them charge.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, you know, you didn't get a credit card and then we charged them interest. I mean, you know, these are our neighbors. I mean, we lived, you know, in New York, they have railroad houses. So, you know, our store is on the bottom and then there's 2 apartments and my family lived in the 2 apartments above. So we were there. I mean, the same people that, you know, we served, this were the same people we lived next to.
Yeah.
And neighbors looked out for each other.
Totally.
I mean, you know, you'd watch the kids out the window. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I got caught doing things I shouldn't be because the neighbors would be like on the phone or coming down. Like, I saw your son, blah, 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 you know.
Yeah.
Busted before you even got done doing the crime, right?
And
I couldn't do anything wrong where I grew up. I grew up in a farm town in California, and if I did something wrong, I would be in trouble by the time I got home. And like 3 people would have called, hey, you know, you saw your boy out there throwing rocks at cars or something.
Yep.
So, you know.
Yeah, things like, sure.
Nowadays it's not like that, man.
No, now people are scared to say anything to some of these parents because parents are like, don't tell me about my kid. My kid's perfect. And it's
Mind your business.
It's this whole thing, mind your business. It's like, no. Remember that old saying that talked about a village raising? We're the village.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The village is just bigger now.
Yeah, the village.
It's a huge village.
Yeah.
Las Vegas is huge.
Yeah,
Holy shit. But we sure don't take care of each other very well. Well, we do, but
And we were
only
Vegas strong
when-
for like a week.
Yeah, only when it's on the news. We only care when it's on the news, as
So
per
true.
the huge. Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, it's tough.
You don't know. I was
ridiculous.
so angry when that first came out. I couldn't believe the resources that were wasted.
Oh God.
Example?
Well, and we were talking about the shooting that happened.
Sure. No, I mean example of resources wasted on the shooting.
Well, first of all, it happened on a casino property during a casino event.
Yeah.
Who's responsible for taking care of their clients, like when you check in? So who should have covered all those bills?
The casino.
Right. But yet they collected millions and millions of dollars. Food, which, I mean, casinos, I mean...
I didn't understand the food thing either.
And water. they have nothing but tons of kitchens. I mean, I worked in this casino. They're huge. And even if the food isn't even like the highest quality, you could feed everybody. And it's your responsibility. You screwed up. You didn't put in the proper measures to keep your people safe.
Right.
So how is the
Are you not
community
liable?
Responsible?
How is the community responsible for something that you screwed up?
MGM did get a job, do a good job raising prices on parking, though.
There we go. I did appreciate that. Well, you know that they raised so much money that they didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
I know they finally figured out. I think something to do with it.
I don't think anybody's gotten any of it yet, though. Still.
No one's been paid out yet.
They did.
They did.
There's $257,000 for each casualty.
Right, and that
Each
just
casualty?
happened.
Yeah.
What about a casualty? So what did the fatalities get?
I think it's the same. Same thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
257,000.
So what?
Right, but this was money donated by people,
By
not
us.
Not by the casino.
not for the casinos. I mean, I'm sure they'll be on the hook. There's enough lawyers out there.
What did the casino do? But you know, the MGM really could have stood up and showed that they are for the Vegas community and appreciate not only the people that are patrons, but also their employees and all those things. Because we did a candlelight vigil like a day later, and just to have it,
And it's still there.
We put it out there, and we had the candlelight visual, and this kid came, and he was a security guard there. When I mean security guard, I mean this kid was stamping people's hands on the way in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, that's all he's trained to do. It's his part-time job while he's going to whatever school he's going to.
Yeah.
Well, then
training.
Some cop grabbed him by the arm and said, "You're a deputy now." And now he's in a war zone, and he's collecting bodies, and he's treating casualties, and he's doing that kind of thing. And so this kid comes and he tells this very real, sad story and heartfelt, and he's crying in front of the whole, this whole candlelight visual, trying to tell his story, and he's shaking. And then at the end, I couldn't believe he said, and then they had the balls to ask me to come back to work and clean up the mess.
Nice.
the next day.
That's
And a lot of
MGM.
them-
That's
lot of
called
the
job
people-
security.
Yeah, no, most of the people that worked that night had to go in the next day or the next couple of days and clean up
Yeah.
because they didn't. That was their job.
That was
That's
their job.
to work in that area.
He's a kid. He's not even 20 years old.
Yeah, they just
making money
experienced
for
war.
school.
They just
Stamping
experienced
hands.
war.
Yeah, and 3 days later, it couldn't have been. And they said, "Can you please?" They didn't say, "Can you please?" Hey, you need to come back into work because we got to start cleaning.
Yep. Human resources.
Are you joking?
We was just talking about that. Robots.
Yep.
Right.
So, but
Slaves.
MGM had a real opportunity to show. You know what I'm saying? They could have really stood up, but really, I
They
never.
did.
No, I don't think I didn't ever hear anything
No,
from
I mean,
them.
they did have an opportunity. It's too late now.
MGM just kind of put their hands over their eyes and looked the other way. They didn't do much, as far as I know.
Well, I know that they changed the numbering of the floors.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
good.
did
They
that.
eliminated the floor
The
where
floor
it
that he-
happened. I mean, the floor is still there, of course. It's just the number now is
To
different.
confuse us.
I'm pretty
Right,
sure.
so they
sounds
did do
like it's
their
gone
part.
to me.
They did their part.
Great, and I'm sure they'll turn that room that guy shot out of into an
museum.
into an attraction.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I bet they might.
Why not? They have cars that people were shot and killed in on the strip. Why wouldn't they
Yeah.
have that one?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But they have that?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
they, have
Tupac.
they have the Bonnie and Clyde car and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's still a murder
Dutch
scene.
Schultz, yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
The
it's
Tupac
not.
car got sold.
The Tupac car just got sold.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
yeah, straight up.
Oh,
every
maybe not too soon.
time I drive by that intersection, I say, "Rest in peace, Tupac." And I did it when Vera was in the car, and I said, "Rest in peace, Tupac." She's like, "You're stupid." I said, "You're right, Vera. I'm gonna say that from now on."
MGM did open a Vegas Strong store, though.
No way.
No, they didn't.
I
Where?
think it was at the Mandela,
Oh,
not Mandela Bay.
how do we make money on this
Mirage.
hashtag Vegas Strong thing?
I seen it
makes
on
me sick
every
to my
truck.
Let's
stomach, dude.
open
Yeah,
a
I
gift
know
shop
this printer place
for our tourists.
that actually
I'm gonna
made
throw up,
all the Vegas
too.
Strong t-shirts.
Just think you can't get
Wow.
any lower.
Right.
That's
They made over
disgusting.
Made over 10,000. Sold them all too
Hmm.
for MGM.
Jesus.
Nice. Holy,
Did that money go
holy
back
cow.
to?
That's the thing. I don't know.
Huh.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I wonder.
If the money went back,
Merchandising
then
debt.
okay, that's.
I mean, we are talking a lot of shit. I'm sure the MGM did some right things. I
Sure. would love to
they
have
should
them
have-
on the podcast.
They should have politicized it.
Hey, MGM spokespersons, if you're listening, come on
come
the
defend
podcast.
yourself.
Let's talk about this
because
shit.
the general public in this town
Seriously.
is all you did was raise the parking prices.
Well, and they merchandised that. Whether it was, the money was going. I mean, what the
What the fuck?
They're
You can say it,
responsible
yeah.
for what you did. So by selling T-shirts to raise money to cover your friggin' asses,
Mm-hmm.
because it's unbelievable.
And the good news on the news yesterday was the Mandalay Bay is finally coming back from its. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
Yeah, there was new. It was talking about they finally are starting to
I wonder
see
if the families of-
patriotism and.
I wonder if all the people who are still in recovery, is there still
Yeah.
people in the hospital? I think there's
Absolutely,
two.
there
yeah,
has
for
to be
sure.
people still in the hospital. There's no way there's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it was only a few months ago. It wasn't like it was that long ago.
Well,
A friend of
and-
ours still has a bullet in him.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
There we go. And we talk about the psychological damage
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
of going through something like that.
Serious
That's
PTSD.
never going to go.
No, my
Right.
friend. So
Right.
my friend's wife took off running, ran all the way to Ellis Island. My buddy picked her up, and she's still like, she wouldn't even come to our grand opening. She's like, "I'm sorry,
Couldn't
Can't
come.
do crowds.
She couldn't come.
couldn't come." She tried so hard, and
She was one of the volunteers that was
She
scrubbing
scrubbed
the
my floor. She
was on
painted
her-
these walls.
Yeah, she was in here in the very beginning, and she couldn't come to the grand opening that she was looking forward to come to.
Yeah,
because
no, she was so
scared.
excited. She's one of our best friends, and she's so
couldn't do
scared
it,
to be in
yeah.
crowds now. And how can you
And
blame
she's
her?
one of how many people were in attendance? Like 10,000 or something like
It was
that.
the smallest night. I think it was like 23,000 people there, but that was the small night. If you'd done the night before, it would have been over 60 or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. And I've been to that parking lot. That parking lot, that is not an easy place to get in and out
No,
of.
it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. It's probably one of the worst concert venues in Vegas as far as ingress and egress.
Yeah, I went there. I drove past the morning before
Mm-hmm.
because I was taking some back roads to go pick up donations, and then that's kind of an easy
You zip
route.
that back route around there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking. I didn't know the event was going on, and I
Yeah.
see, and it's like early in the morning, 7 or 8 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning, and I see all these people dressed up.
in cowboy stuff.
Cowboy stuff?
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? This is like a side street. It's a back road. Like, what? Like I'm thinking they're filming. Like,
Oh,
so-
yeah.
So I'm driving and I'm looking. I'm like, something's not right here.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that venue existed. Then I drove down, a little further, and I saw that they had a stadium set up. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
did I know that.
I didn't know the festival was going on either. We didn't we went to bed early that night, and somebody called us and in the morning and was like, "Hey,
you guys okay?
You guys okay?" We're like, "Are you okay?" we didn't know what was going on, and then finally they told us, and that's when we found out that there was a festival.
We talked about this on another podcast.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Homeless, all right.
Homeless.
Move along.
Moving along, yeah.
Nothing to see here.
It's a hard subject not to bring up and over and over again because you know it was only a couple months ago. It's a fresh Vegas wound. You know what I mean? A month or two after, I finally drove by there on my way to the Venetian, and as I drove by, I just was like crying.
Yeah.
Lots of friends shot. Lots of friends had to run away from there, and it was a shit situation.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's not, so we're gonna have an event out here though. I still want that.
We absolutely should.
We're going to paint the Vegas Strongs. Have the artists of different cultures. Now we came up with a new concept idea where we say hello in every language.
Above it,
but they do their own art. Below it. That's Vegas Strong themed. Whatever they feel is that. So. We're gonna do that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun because I was
need to find the artists.
There's a lot.
There we go. There's enough artists in there.
That's the hard part.
A lot of Korean shops in this place, so I've been trying to learn a little bit, at least say hello when I walk into their shop. So that's where the idea came from. I like because there's all these Korean tour buses and.
Over here?
Yeah, all over, always.
Oh boy, yeah.
Always, yeah.
Always drive by.
And so I'm getting a sign made actually from a Korean printer over there that just says gifts in Korean, and that's where the idea came from.
These guys over here?
L&K. Yeah.
Oh, they're good
great.
buddies.
They're the best.
Let me tell you, L&K did our Food Not Bob's banner. Gave me such an incredible discounted price
They're
because he
awesome.
knew that we're a nonprofit.
Yeah.
I love them guys, man. I push everybody I know there, and their work is like impeccable.
Dude, it's so good.
They're bringing in 100% recycled paper for us. All of our stuff is printed on.
He sourced it, for us.
It's a family business.
Cool.
They care about the community. This is why I'm so happy with them.
Yeah. No, I love them.
Oh, I
love them, and they're
for
fair,
years.
and they give us a nice neighbor discount, and
always
super nice. And so I walked in there, and I will mess it up, so I'm not gonna say here, but I was talking to the kid like, how do you say hello in Korean? And so we just had a nice conversation. So
we wind up talking about movies.
Oh, you and him?
Yeah, we all.
What's his name?
Chris.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man. He's awesome.
Yeah.
So anything happening with Food Not Bombs that you want to tell us about? Like, is there any events coming up?
Anything you want to plug at the end of this hour?
Anything that's...
Well, I mean, we're there Sundays, Mondays, and Wednesdays. Anybody's welcome to come out. We're always looking for donations.
And you know what? Let me interrupt you. I think that
there we go.
Like if you just go help them for one day just so you could see what it's all about.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure. Monday, Wednesday.
Just go hang out.
That's right. We're over at Hunt Ridge Park, Circle Park. Like the people in the know and the people who live here know it's called Circle Park by the old Hunt Ridge Theater.
Yep.
Corner of Maryland.
And Charleston, right?
Charleston. Yeah.
It's kind of a little bit off the
Sorry,
side.
I'm like on this.
And here's our plug.
South of Charleston.
Yeah.
North.
If anybody would like to donate or find out who we are and what we do, our stories on there, and our history is a pretty cool history for Vegas. I mean, we got some real ass kickers in the old days, It's foodnotbombslasvegas.org.
All right.
And you'll find us there. And you'll see the times and stuff, and there's a donation button. So don't be shy, man. You use that donation button. It helps us. It helps you. You'll feel good. I mean, it empowers everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
And, we all can do good if you don't have time and you got the cash. I mean, it's all good to us.
And I gotta say too, if people are worried that if you donate cash and Ron's gonna go blow it on some hookers and blow, I assure you,
it won't be that much.
It's
yeah, I have very low standards. So
no, this man. I swear, I don't think I've ever seen him wear anything but these clothing. This hat. I mean, you got a couple different colored hats too, but they're all the same.
Bandanas.
And, he's the most humble human being I think I've ever met, and honest and genuine, and he's definitely a servant to the people, and we are so grateful.
Thank you.
I love you.
That.
I love you, and Earth is grateful that you exist to help caretake for her beings, because there's a lot of humans that are suffering, and you're one of the biggest caretakers we got in Vegas. I feel you do a lot of work, brother.
I appreciate that.
Thanks, Ron.
Very much.
I love you.
You guys, I mean, what can I say? You guys are doing a wonderful thing too. I mean, you guys are getting the word out. and all the stuff that you do here. Holy cow!
I know, it's fun, right?
It's all about creating community.
Absolutely.
And you're like one of the biggest driving forces.
We're trying.
That's been like happening.
Oh, thank you.
Especially in our
For
neighborhood.
2 months. Can you imagine? It's only been 2 months.
See, doesn't it?
Nuts.
Well, it's been 4 months technically.
Oh, okay.
2 months since the grand opening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it seems like so much longer, and
I
there's
know.
so many
We've been
events that go
doing
on
so
here.
much. I know.
We're not going to stop. They're going to have to drag us out of here.
The hustle is pushing.
Push it to the limit.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it, I think.
Thanks for listening, everybody. You know where to find us. That's it.
Love you guys.